lived on farms, and then we lived in cities, and now we're going to live on the internet.
John, stop.
Not too long ago, we idealized the notion of living on the internet. It felt like a futuristic dream speeding towards us, soon becoming a reality. In this dream, we imagined a unified world where information and knowledge could be distributed equally all over the globe. Everyone would have access to humanity's wealth of ideas, thus making the world more human than ever, since we would all meet online and share with each other what it meant to live on this earth. Through living on the internet, we'd find the impossible, a perfect world, a digital utopia. But as it grew and we began inhabiting the internet as a secondary home, the need for structure became increasingly apparent. The wild west of the early days of the internet had to become civilized to make room for the influx of people moving in. What we needed was some form of law enforcer to keep the walls of the internet upright. In order to make it easier to find what we were looking for, the internet demanded something that could keep tabs on the massive amounts of information posted every day. The savior of all these issues was, of course, algorithms. Algorithms gave the internet the clarity it sorely needed. What was once an open playing field where you had to know in which direction to run to find anything at all, with algorithms' help became a playground with conveyor belts you could step on to get wherever you wanted. Before algorithms, if you didn't know about a website, there was no way of knowing it even existed, unless you happened to come across it on someone else's site, or if you by chance typed in the correct address in the search bar. With the use of algorithms, search engines for the internet became popular tools for deciphering the empty chaos. Yahoo, AltaVista, and later Google helped you find what you wanted. With these as your compass in hand, you could now navigate the vastness of the internet with ease. But, as you already know, it didn't stop there. The internet grew up. We had to adapt to the ever-changing surroundings of our digital home, and to meet the complexity of the maturing internet, the algorithms had to become more and more sophisticated. How these algorithms have evolved throughout the years has greatly altered how we interact with the internet. Previously, the algorithms were there to help nudge you in the right direction. The search engines pushed what its algorithm thought best suited your search. But when we all made the internet our home, companies began tweaking their algorithms to turn a profit. Over the years, this mindset of serving you, the user, what you're searching for, has shifted to one with the focus on keeping people hooked for longer. This was the beginning of the attention economy we find ourselves in now, where we don't pay with our money, but with our time. When Instagram came onto the scene, the flow of your feed was a clear timeline of the people you followed in the order they'd posted their photos. Now, what you see first is a sort of recommended feed with some of your friends' photos, but mostly ads and random accounts. Instagram's algorithm thinks will keep you scrolling for longer, meaning you'll see more ads. Companies have altered their algorithms to not just help you find what you're looking for, but also to tell you what they believe you actually want. These algorithms aren't here to help. They're here to show you something it thinks you'll enjoy enough to keep you glued to your seat at the buffet it serves. Our goal with algorithms at the dawn of the internet was to help the user, nudge us, and guide with a responsible hand. Today, a cold, meticulous hand shovels heaps and heaps of content in your face, whilst the other hand keeps a firm pressure on your back so you stay seated for longer than you intended. And if this is our ruler, if the dictatorship of these inhuman algorithms rule our secondary home online, is the internet truly our world anymore? Today, algorithms don't just find out who you are and serve you the meal it thinks you'll like the best. No, algorithms now find ways of reshaping you to fit their formula. Algorithms have begun to make you who you are. Because the more you eat, the more you neglect yourself, the more you allow the algorithm's oppressive hand to transform you into a content-devouring machine. In time, you'll happily accept whatever's on your plate, rather than feeding yourself what you think will nourish you the most. Today, on the internet, algorithms create the person you believe you are in reality. But it doesn't have to be this way. because you don't have to eat what it feeds you.
You're watching CNET, the center of the digital universe.
What even are algorithms? Simply put, algorithms are finite sequences of instructions used to solve problems and perform computations. Meaning we feed it data, and the sequence breaks it down, solves it, and/or delivers an outputted result. That's all algorithms are, and in mathematics and in computer science, they're incredible tools to aid in the process of different forms of calculations. Now, I'm far from a computer scientist or a mathematician, so I won't dig deeper into how algorithms function or the numerous ways we use them to run the internet smoothly. What I want to get to are the philosophical and psychological implications of how differently constructed algorithms can have huge effects on us as users. Like I claimed before, the internet in the early days needed laws in order to grow and make it easier for people to navigate. This is a perfect job for algorithms. They can structure massive amounts of information too daunting for people to sift through. However, a question I want to pose is whether we really need them to give us results based on who we are, rather than simply what we search for. Today, on social media, in music apps, and even on news sites, algorithms are put in place to try to figure out who you, the user, are. To better, and I put the word better in air quotes, to better tailor your experience online to your individual needs. Which at first glance sounds like a terrific idea, a way of giving people more of what they actually want, omitting what is of no interest. But if we then combine this idea of tailoring the algorithm's output to suit your desire with the company's incentive to keep you on the site for longer, a concerning pattern begins to emerge. You interact with the internet, and the algorithm spits out uncertain tests to see what you prefer. You gravitate towards one or the other, and the algorithm learns your tastes to hopefully improve its rate of success the next time it gives you its results. This iterative process of teaching algorithms about our interests seems all well and good, but then we add the company's incentive to keep you hooked for longer. Now, instead of spitting out more risky or shorter content the algorithm believes you'll love, it's far more likely to give you something longer to interact with, that you'll at least enjoy enough to stay sedated. This is what happened on YouTube a few years ago, when it made watch time the primary motive for its algorithms. Longer videos became the norm, and the daily hour-long video podcast outnumbered the shorter sketches that took months to produce. This shift made content something we devoured for hours on end without necessarily being impactful or memorable for us as viewers. Because of this, most content got sanitized of its creativity. Art and work that took too long to produce had no place on the internet anymore. So this is what happened out in the digital world when algorithms shifted gears to serve companies more than people. But what about your experience of being a user online? What happened to you? What do these algorithms actually know about you? What can they know? We still imagine algorithms as reflections of ourselves, knowing our likes and dislikes, hobbies and interests. At least that is how they're supposed to function. But I don't think that's true anymore. With them now geared to push the company's goal of keeping you on the platform for longer, it's now not about finding out who you are, because they don't need to know who you are, if they can make you less of yourself instead. An algorithm only guesses at who you are based on what it imagines other people being. And being a few lines of code itself, it can't know anything about you. Although algorithms can be sophisticated enough to trick you into believing it knows what you want. If you happen to come across this video in your recommended feed and you resonate with what I'm saying, then perhaps it feels like the almighty YouTube algorithm knows what you want, that it knows you want to hear what I have to say, and that it knows you'll appreciate these ideas. But it doesn't. The algorithms don't know you at all. It merely looks at your watch history, how you interact with content, my target audience if my content seems like a match, and thus determines whether to push my video in your feed or not. Simply put, the algorithm looks at it like this. Is this video, this jumble of words, a match with your history of consumption, the words you've eaten before? If it judges wrong, you'll never see this video, even if it's something you want or need to hear. Countless ideas end up like that on the internet, not seen or heard. just because an algorithm, a few lines of code, misunderstood them or interpreted them not of value to you, or worse, thought the video of less value or harmful to itself and the company running it. Creators try to trick the algorithm just as much as the algorithm tricks the user. And no matter if it or we as creators sometimes get it right, this is not how you learn who a person is. And this is not how you learn to know yourself. You're not you simply because you've tricked yourself into becoming someone others will enjoy being around. You're not you to drive home profit for someone else. You're not an algorithm. You're you for yourself. And your experience of freedom gives you the possibility to disregard the motives of others, and thus you're free to improve yourself without inflicting suffering onto others. And the same cannot be said for algorithms controlled by companies with the agenda to earn a profit on you becoming less of a person and more of a consumer.
Take a spin, now you're in with the techno set. You're going surfing on the internet.
There's an underlying feeling of uncertainty when it comes to how people on the internet discuss the almighty algorithm. We're unsure what will happen next, since we lack control. We don't know how to deal with being force-fed content and can't see a way out other than to detach ourselves completely from the digital matrix. And to refuse the internet in this day and age seems too ridiculous to even contemplate. It feels like we have a binary choice to make. Either we remove our connection to the internet, taking the algorithms along with it, and thus become a person again, alone, with no way of connecting with people where they are. Or, the alternative, we keep being fed by the algorithm and become the person it wants us to be, mindlessly consuming. But this is a false dichotomy. We always have more options available to us than going simply one of two ways. To distance ourselves entirely from the internet is not exactly feasible, since we need apps just to move about these days. And the internet is also a wonderful place, despite all its faults. There's so much to gain from the connections we get from living on the internet. So the solution to the issue of algorithms' rule of the internet is not necessarily to detach, but to cut the specific cords you can live without. I myself have a few distinct ways of minimizing my interaction with algorithms pestering me to stay seated at their table. I regularly take week or month-long breaks from YouTube, and when I come back, I try to be selective of what I watch and from which channels. I only really use Instagram to check messages people send me and post about upcoming videos. As I mentioned in this previous essay, I keep YouTube blocked on my computer before 8 o'clock in the evening, and Instagram looks like a barren wasteland unless I deliberately turn the blocker off to look up something specific. Another thing I do is that I almost exclusively listen to music and watch movies I own physically. I listen to CDs while at home and look at Blu-rays or DVDs on my TV, when I'm not at the cinema, that is. My recommendations for both of these come mainly from people and artists I already like, or from friends. And when it comes to books, I already know too many I want to get to someday, so there's really no need for me to look up anything new using algorithms. Over the last few years, taking more and more deliberate steps away from algorithms' control over me, I'm actually feeling freer, both online and in my everyday life, than I ever have. Of course I blunder, I end up doing precisely what I wish to avoid, but my general digital health is so much better today than it has been before. I used to doom scroll Instagram, especially to pass the time on the toilet. Now I bring a book with me instead. I used to need to watch something as I ate dinner, even letting it get cold before I could find a video. Now I might listen to a CD and think about where I'm at and appreciate what I'm eating. This is precisely the thing we lose when we allow algorithms to shove their opinions down our throats. The opinion of an algorithm is only what best serves the company it works for, and if they're prioritizing their financial success over the well-being of their users, then we should care very little for what their opinions actually are. What you lose if you listen to algorithms is your individualism, your personhood. If the attention economy of the internet chips away at your personal and individual experience of the world, why not call its bluff and take back your freedom instead? Algorithms are here to take away your individualism, but you're free to not allow them to do so. Take it back by mindfully engaging only with the algorithms you feel are there to benefit you, and look away from the ones that only want to mold you into a husk of a person easier for the companies in charge of your attention to influence. We can demand more from the internet, the same way we demand more of society when we see it go down the wrong path. So the question shouldn't be, how well does this algorithm know you, or know what you want? Rather, how well do you know yourself to not let algorithms tell you who you should be? So then, who are you?
Can you imagine the looks on your friends' faces when you put your new computer skills into action? You may even show the office know-it-all a thing or two.
Who are you? I can't answer that, and I won't try to, but I can give you a few ideas so as to hopefully nudge you in the right direction. You can see me as the next step in the internet search bar, the next algorithm of sorts. Because if algorithms aren't doing their job to serve people the best way possible, maybe people should do that job instead. This is partly why I recently started writing essays on this channel. I mean not to teach or inform, because I'm no teacher, and I intend not to claim to know anything more than anyone else. No, I only want to exist on the internet as a voice for the benefits of individual acts of self-expression and self-reflection, because that's something algorithms can't do on their own. Even in this digital world run by algorithms, there are still ways of moving towards self-actualization. You can become your own algorithm. You can take deliberate steps away from the companies seeking to charge you your attention and time for their profit. If you are the algorithm, your incentive is only to serve yourself and to make yourself the best version you can be. Instead of listening to algorithms, maybe look for recommendations from trustworthy sources and people you like and admire. Look things up yourself instead of naively accepting what algorithms serve you as the best solution. Work towards fortifying your sense of curiosity, and then the slop fed to you by attention-hungry algorithms will seem bland and boring soon enough. All of this takes a lot of time and also a lot of conscious effort. To invest your energy in staying away from the ease of falling back to who they want you to be is not easy. And I'm not idealistic or naive enough to believe this is something we can all do. But I'd hedge a bet that if you made it this far into this video, I'd wager you're on the right track yourself. I don't know where you should go next or what you need to discover to get somewhere new, but it also wouldn't be very fun if I did. It's more interesting if you tell me yourself when you figure it out. I'll leave that up to you. So, I ask again, who are you when an algorithm no longer does all the talking? If you liked the video, leave a like and write a comment about what measures you take to avoid the influence of the almighty algorithms. Thank you so much for watching, subscribe if you want to stick around, and I'll see you in the next one.